Hi, everybody. This is Josh, one half of the From a Certain Point of View podcast, and I am so excited today to be talking about and breaking down the Matrix Resurrections trailer. Um, Man, I am a big Matrix fan. Some of you might know that. I especially loved the first Matrix film. I thought it was just groundbreaking, and it blew my mind when I was, a young teenager. And I liked the second one. I thought it took it to a very interesting place with the idea of there being like more than just one the one in many different iterations of the Matrix and Zion and everything. I thought that was really interesting. um my least favorite was probably the Matrix Revolutions, but the good thing about this trailer, and I've watched it a few times now, is it really seems like it's going back to the roots of the original Matrix, and it feels a lot more like the first one. It feels a lot less like the second and third ones, and there are even a lot of things that some of the same familiar beats that we see in this trailer that I'm going to talk about here in just a minute. Um, but I have to say, after seeing this trailer, my excitement has gone even higher through the roof for this. I mean, this is probably my most anticipated film now after seeing this trailer for until the end of the year. Um, but let's go ahead and jump into the trailer, and I'm going to break down some of this. So I'm gonna hit play. Okay, so first of all, we kind of get that familiar Matrix sound, and then we get the name Thomas. And I just want to talk about that for a second because, we have Thomas Anderson, the name that Neo went by when he was in the Matrix. He was kind of unaware that he was in the Matrix, and it seems like something similar is going on here. One thing that I've noticed though throughout this trailer is you're not getting that like green tint that you normally get in the Matrix. So I'm wondering if this is some different iteration of the Matrix or if he's in a different place altogether. Not sure. Can't wait to find out though. And then we have the black cat, which is very significant because the black cat represented like it was the cat Neo saw in the first film when he was having deja vu, and having deja vu in the Matrix means that they're changing something. So that might just be a cameo, or it could be significant to the plot. I guess we'll find out.
You seem particularly triggered right now. Can you tell me what happened? I've had dreams that weren't just dreams.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back just a step here, and we have Neil Patrick Harris as Neo's therapist, as it seems, and then we get this kind of shot of Neo having this dream, and it kind of gives us that. Let me see if I can get to that.
I've had dreams that weren't.
Yeah, it kind of gives us this Matrix view that that we of course saw in previous Matrix installments, where Neo's kind of seeing things. He can see the code, but he sees it in a way that nobody else can see it. And he's saying, he's having dreams that weren't just dreams. So again, it's very reminiscent of him in the first film, like discovering what was going on around him.
Just dreams. Am I crazy? We don't use that word in here.
So I had to laugh whenever I saw him in the tub with the duck on his head and everything. Um, which it feels kind of tonally different from the first one and the second and third. It even feels almost like he's in this very vibrant world, and it seems almost surreal. So it's kind of a different feel.
Hi.
Have we met?
So I think it's interesting that he and Trinity are both back, um, but they haven't met. They don't remember meeting each other. So, um, and by the way, I think that you know Carrie Ann Moss looks pretty good. She's aged pretty well, and of course, Keanu Reeves is still looking pretty good. He looks like John Wick in this movie, but he's probably because he was filming John Wick 4 probably around the same time. Um, but I just think it's interesting that these two characters are meeting each other again for the first time, and just this whole idea of kind of going back through almost the events of the first one.
One pill makes you larger, and one pill.
And so this song is really interesting too in here. And, we get the imagery of the blue pills. And the blue pills, of course, are significant because if you take the blue pill, you stay in the matrix, right? But if you take the red pill, and there's a reference to Alice in Wonderland, in the first Matrix film, and we get even this music that's kind of alluding to um, Alice in Wonderland, and then in just a second we're going to see the book Alice in Wonderland. So I just it's interesting, Neo's like seemingly going down this rabbit hole again.
Makes you small, and the ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all. Go ask Alice.
So there we get the Alice in Wonderland book right there. And I just also wanted to point out that I'm wondering if Neo is, or Thomas Anderson, whatever you want to call him at this point, he's kind of having these visions. He knows the world around him isn't right again. He's very um, aware of that, and maybe his therapist is having him take all these blue pills to kind of suppress some of those things, and keep him plugged into whatever reality he's plugged into right now. Now this character, I didn't come up with this on my own. I saw it on Twitter. There was a theory actually that this is Sati. So Sati was a character that was in the Matrix Revolutions, and her parents basically had to be deleted so she could survive because she didn't have a purpose. But then she eventually ended up with the Oracle, and at the end of the Matrix Revolution, she's sitting by the Oracle on the park bench, and she asks, "Will we ever see Neo again?" And the Oracle says, you know something to the effect of, "I'm sure we will someday." And now is that someday, which I also think is really cool because I've been waiting like, almost 20 years now for that line to fulfill itself and for us to see Neo again. But there was somebody that pointed out this might be Sati, so I very well could be. I think that would be a great way to connect um, the revolutions to resurrections.
When she's 10 feet tall.
So then we get a younger looking Morpheus, but man, he's doing. I don't know what this actor's name is. I know I've seen him in something before, other things before, but he is nailing the Morpheus role. If that's indeed what the role is, he's got the shades that don't have any whatever you call it, and he's giving Neo the red pill and saying it's time to fly. So again, it's kind of playing through those same beats as the first one, but I don't mind that. I think it's really intriguing, and I really want to know what's going on here. So I'm loving it.
To fly.
And there we go again with the reference to Alice in Wonderland and the White Rabbit. Of course, Neo followed the White Rabbit in the first one, it led him to meeting Trinity and going down that rabbit hole, as it were. So it's cool that the rabbit's coming back up again.
If you want the truth, Neo, you're going to have to follow me. The only thing that matters to you is still here. I know it's why you're still fighting and why you will never give up. You don't know me. No?
I think it's interesting that he says, "You don't know me," and then they fight each other. And something the character Seraph said in The Matrix Reloaded was, "You never really know somebody until you fight them." Um, and so I think that's interesting, and we can see again a similar scene from the first Matrix where they're fighting in this dojo setting. Morpheus and Neo, and he's training and learning and everything. So, um, yeah, again, very similar beats. And then we get a look at what seems to be the real world again. The real world always had that blue tint to it in the original Matrix films, and we see that again. We don't see the green tint because maybe it's not exactly the Matrix. Maybe it's something Sati even created. Um, we'll find out, but we do get a look at the real world again, so we're gonna be going back there once again. And there's a shot of a ship that's similar to, what the Nebuchadnezzar looked like and the type of ships that they use to navigate down into Zion and everything. So I'll be curious to see how that plays into this movie. We get a lot of cool action shots in there, but we also get a shot of Trinity here. Maybe she's waking up from being plugged in. Um, so this is a really interesting shot here. We get a lot of really cool action shots again right here, and it looks like, the Matrix was always known for breaking new ground when it came to action and bullet time and things like that, and just the way they're using the camera, the way it sort of tilted upside down right there. A lot of these shots, it looks like they're going to do that again. They're gonna break some new ground, I'm sure, and get into some new territory, things to talk about. So Neo stopping some bullets, and so he obviously he's once again learning his ability and harnessing ability. I'm wondering if his abilities in this film are going to be somewhat limited. Um, and I wouldn't mind if that was the case, because I don't think you want to jump into this and Neo be able to like fly and do all the things that he could do by the third movie. Um, this might be the only other Matrix film we ever get, but you do kind of want your hero to be limited somewhat, so he's facing some sort of challenge, when it comes to that. But again, just through the end here, a lot of really cool looking action shots. Neo stopping bullets. Neo in a minute is going to be redirecting a missile into a helicopter, and it's that similar rooftop scene, um, to the first Matrix too. So there it is. He's redirecting that missile right there. Time to fly.
Years to be going back to where it all started, back to the Matrix.
So we see Jonathan Groff here, and I love him as an actor. I think he did a great job, obviously, in Hamilton, and voicing Sven, and he also did a great job of voicing Sven and Kristoff in the Frozen series. But I'm excited to see him here and what he can bring to the Matrix. And he's talking to Neo about going back to the Matrix, as if he isn't in the Matrix right now. He's going back to it. Um, so again, where is he? What's going on with this story? I'm really interested to see like what's going on here, and why does Neo, why does Trinity, why are they coming back? That's what I'm really excited to see. I think that's a really cool title sequence too, right there. Really looks great. Okay, so we can see it in theaters or on HBO Max on December 22nd. Again, I couldn't be more excited. I think this is a fantastic trailer. I think it shows that they're really trying to go back to the origins of what made the first Matrix so great, and play off of some of those things. But I think you know in ways it's very derivative of the first, but obviously that's, I think, intentional, to get us back into the Matrix. But I think they're going to do it. I think there's a reason why some of these things are repeating themselves and happening over again. And I think there's going to be a good reason for that within the story. I do trust in that and have faith in that because, while it's going to build upon what the first Matrix did, I think it's also going to be very new and very unique in its own right, and stand on its own and take it into a new direction, and take it into different places. I'm really excited. Hope you guys are too. But let me know, what do you think in the comments section? What do you think about this Matrix Resurrections trailer? Does it look too much like the first Matrix, or are you loving that there's some familiar beats? Where do you think this story's going? You have any theories? Leave them below. And thank you. Stay tuned to the From a Certain Point of View podcast for your movie news, reviews, and points of view.